So I've come up to Mae Hong Son Way because Anne wanted to explore this hill, which is completely covered in yellow flowers. Because it's popular with the tourists here. There's a lot of markets nearby. There's a village nearby. There is some parking, but this stuff is just packed with people taking photos up here. But anyway, let's go check out my day's journey today, all the way to Mae Hong Son. So on this day trip, we decided to go out to the Bua Tong fields in Doi Mae Ko. Now to do this, we had to pass over the Doi Inthanon National Park. Now, the roads going to this place is that we have to cross over this mountain. I wanted to show you some of this road because the drive here was quite windy. It was bloody windy, to be honest. And you see a lot of motorbikers go on this trip because it's a part of the Mae Hong Son Loop. It is a very beautiful drive, a very scenic drive, but this initial mountain area, you've got to be extremely careful just because it is very windy, and on some days it can be very foggy, as I showed you before. But once you get to the bottom of the mountains, you're going to come through a couple of small villages and one larger village as well along the way. If you're coming out of Chiang Mai, I do suggest you fill up first with your petrol because there's not many places to stop and get petrol. In one of the larger towns we passed through, there was a PTT, but overall there was not much on this drive when it came to petrol stations. But we kept driving through this village and we came to another extremely bloody foggy area. And I was really surprised at it. The air outside was actually a lot cooler in this area, especially when we went over the national park and we came down the other end. And then we came back up to another sort of mountain area. But this road was really dodgy, this part of the road especially. And we had to be very careful driving here as well. I would say if you haven't driven on the Mae Hong Son Loop before, it doesn't matter whether you're going up through Pai or here, it is extremely windy. So just pulling up, this road's so windy on Mae Hong Son. And yeah, it's just totally misty as well, going all along here. Beautiful area. Absolutely beautiful view up here. So we continued to go over the mountain area, and I really did start to enjoy this aspect of the driving because there was these beautiful mountains all around you. It was just very scenic, sometimes looking into the distance and seeing some of the small rural villages as well in the hills, a lot of very different types of agricultural growing in the area, and a lot of the yellow flowers you would see just scattered along the roads. Now, this is during that November period of Thailand, if you're going to come up this way as well, if you're out there to see all the beautiful flowers coming out. And so that's the reason why we picked this weekend to actually come up and explore this area, because me and Anne have this thing where we're all going, one day we'll do this, one day we'll do that. So we jumped in the car and did it. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful here where we just stopped on the way to Mae Hong Son. About 50 baht just to come in here, but we're going to take a little bit of a walk around. But it is beautiful. There must definitely be a birthday party up there. Yeah. Don't know. So this is the Mae Hong Son Loop on going through Doi Inthanon. Probably pronounced that a little bit wrong, but Honey, Doi Inthanon?
Mae Hong Son, different, not Chiang Mai. Mae Hong Son.
Yeah, I know we're going through Mae Hong Son.
Doi
Mae Hong Son? Yeah. But yeah, beautiful. Alright. Just beautiful to set up here. All the flowers, the colours. And you got another lookout point at the top. But okay, let's go back. because Anne's trying to figure her way out. Oh, doesn't feel stable on this thing, just going to say. But hey, it's cool. Overall, it was a beautiful area. Just stop, grab some coffee, and just stretch the legs from the long drive. As it is a bit of a hike up here into the mountains, being a 4 hour and 45-minute drive almost one way. Yeah, it's a hike, I'm just going to say. And we did get up fairly early in the morning, leaving from Chiang Mai about 5 a.m. to get up here, just because we wanted to check it out. Now, you can either go through Pai or go this way, but going over Doi Inthanon National Park to this area is a lot faster. And the flower area that we were going to, the hill we were going to, was not directly on the Mae Hong Son Loop. You have to go a little bit off the beaten track to go to this particular hill, but it is very popular with tourists. And as you can see, there's lots of landscape and beautiful places just to pull over, stop your bike if you're on a motorbike, and a few places where you can pull over your car too. If you need to, a couple of cafes here and there along the way if you're trying to get some coffee, get a drink, or just stretch your legs overall. But again, you just had the road just completely scattered in these yellow flowers. Overall, once you're on the open road, the road wasn't too bad, I didn't think. It was actually quite a good road. It was only going through the mountains that it was extremely windy, and you had to be super careful coming down that road, especially if you're on a bike, I think. I would hate to be driving through here during wet season, as I think it'd just be plainly too dangerous to do during wet season. But during November, it's beautiful. But here we are, we've actually hit. So we finally arrived at the Thung Bua Tong fields at Doi Mae Hong. And yes, the first impression you see is lots of tourists pulled up here in their cars and on their motorbikes. And it was a beautiful sunny day. The weather was really nice. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, but the whole area was just scattered in these yellow flowers. And so we parked our car, and it's free parking too, so it's not that bad. But it is a nice drive just to come up here and check it out. So bring your bike or bring your car. There is some street food places, which I'll show you later, which are at the bottom of the hill from these flowers. But there's also some places you could probably get drinks and that here as well, which I'll show you shortly as we walk up here. But it's free to walk around this area as well. I'm just going to say that. So it's not about cost or anything. It's just about an experience that people love to just walk through this garden. There is good walking paths all the way through, which I'll show you as well as we move forward. But are we going to do it again? Probably not, just because it's a long bloody drive. But we had to do it once. We just wanted to check it out just for the experience. And it looked like that I didn't see any Westerners there actually, I don't think. And it was mainly all Thai tourists coming up here to the hills. But still, bloody beautiful. I was really chilled out and relaxed as I was walking around this area. And I'm using a mixture of the GoPro and my iPhone for filming on this trip too. But the GoPro battery went dead, so I ended up switching back to my iPhone. This particular part of the filming is with the GoPro 9. And I do want to upgrade camera eventually. But still, the GoPro does a pretty good film, I'm going to say, when it comes to the wide angle stuff, and takes some good photos, even the old GoPros. I don't know what you guys think of the latest GoPros, but yeah, whether they're good or not, yeah, tell us, what do you think about the latest GoPros? Or do you think there's other sort of smaller cams that are better than the GoPro for doing this sort of filming out there? Now, this area probably did have a few little touristy things. Probably could have got some snacks here and as well, and maybe some drinks. But we didn't buy anything here. We just walked straight up the hill because we knew we'll kind of come back. There was also some fruit for sale here. So, yeah, if you're really hungry, you're probably going to find something to eat along here in this particular group of shops here. But next step was, let's walk up this bloody hill to the top to see what it's all about. And, yeah, and really just to see what the view's like at the top of the hill as well. That was our main reason for coming. And but it must have taken them a real lot of work to lay out this garden the way it is. And it is part of the national park as well. So it's national parks that are actually maintaining all this area for tourism purposes, from what I could tell. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the impression that I got, that you had national parks looking after this particular area. There was some cultural stuff going on too, which I'll show you as the video goes on. But yeah, it's really relaxing, this area here. So let's go on a bit of a walk and explore the hills. And yeah, just enjoy. Ask me any questions about this area, because it was a nice drive overall. So as we got higher up here, you can tell that it just has some beautiful views of the mountains around you. See, this whole hill is just painted in yellow. And it's a massive area. It's not a small area either. There's a lot of walking to do to get to the top here. And it's not a hard walk, I wouldn't say. Like, it's not really, really steep. It's just a gradual climb up the hill. And, but yeah, it's just amazing what they've done here. And it's only once a year, really, November, when it's completely covered in these flowers. So if you're just out for a nice day trip, I think it is worth it. It's not just about the destination getting here in November, but there's a lot of other beautiful scenery just to see. So if you're out for a nice road trip on your motorbike or in your car with your family, then there could be some random items to see amongst northern Thailand here. And finding those little unique cafes, those little unique locations like this, multitude of national parks. You could have also stopped in Doi Inthanon National Park on the way and went exploring. So there's a lot of things to do on that Mae Hong Son Loop, and that's why a lot of people do it, because it is just a beautiful scenic drive. And here's one of those sort of photo points where people stand, take their photos, take their selfies, do a bit of filming. And there's my niece and my sister-in-law just taking some photos there. And as you can tell, they were wearing a jumper, so they were a little bit cold. For me, coming from the Blue Mountains west of Sydney, the weather was fine for me. But then we used the GoPro to take a few photos of us, selfies with the GoPro. And I thought these photos turned pretty good with the GoPro 9. And it was nice, clear, bright, just really nice photos overall. And I'll probably get a few of them developed. But yeah, it was just nice walking, talking, stopping, just taking in a moment, using that pure mindfulness that I always sell, just being present in a moment. Like, what am I seeing, hearing, smelling, touching? That's what it's all about. Just enjoying those little moments, stopping and smelling the roses as such. But this is the top of that viewpoint area. And it's a clearing here. I'm not sure what they use this clearing for, but someone may be able to tell me what they use the open clearing for. I know there's camping in the area, and I did see people having some tents set up, and there was a few glamping areas as well around this particular hill area where people were camping, glamping, staying in cabins, all sorts of things in the area as well. So there was accommodation up in this area if you wanted to stay overnight and just enjoy the views. But we started to walk back down, and I did a bit more filming walking down, just showing you more of the path, because I didn't want you to hear heavy breathing walking up the hill. But I still stopped in a few locations just to do a bit of shots of my surroundings, to show you a bit more closer up of all these different flowers, and to show you how many people were there. And there was a lot of people walking up and down here. And then to the local cultural music. After listening to the music for a little while and watching the dances, we decided to go find food because we were both pretty hungry. Actually, we were all hungry, like me, Nice, and my niece and sister-in-law. So we started checking out some of the local street food, but we also sat down and actually ate a meal. But I found it quite expensive here for actual street food, which was quite surprising. The fruit that you could buy here was quite reasonably priced, but I thought the street food was a bit of a rip-off for the quality of food you actually got in this area. And but we did stock up on some fruit and veg in this area just because it looked nice, so we bought some. And yeah, so Anne was just shopping for some shopping ingredients. She wanted to get some chili as well. If I was up here again, I probably wouldn't eat at the local street food stores. You might get some snacks, but I'd probably drive down the hill a little bit further and go to a couple of the cafes. Though that being said, Anne, her sister-in-law, niece, and my stepson, nice, they enjoyed their lunch. They had a good meal, and I had something fairly simple here. But then we jumped back on the highway again, heading back home. And yeah, it was a good drive back. I was a bit sleepy, so I had to get Anne to take over because I'd been up early in the morning and I'd been online like quite late the night before. But we got into Doi Inthanon and we passed these markets in the national park in the mountains. And so we went a bit nuts. We bought several things here. Where, again, this market was quite cheap. So we bought up on some nuts, some fruits, some other snacks from here before we actually left. And I also got some delicious fresh honey from this area. But if you're going to the top of Doi Inthanon, like the mountains, you're going to pass these markets going up and coming back. So on your way back, stop here. Pick up some snacks, pick up some nice honey or coffee or tea or whatever you might like, because it is a little bit cheaper, Anne was saying, than in Chiang Mai itself. And a lot of it's locally grown produce as well from a lot of the farmers up here. So they're selling it at a much discounted rate. But we bought one of those big mixed bags of nuts there, I think for about 400 baht or something like that. And yeah, there were smaller ones there as well. Yeah, there was a lot of different options, strawberries, all those sorts of things. And but yeah, I like my nuts. That's why I bought some here. They're just good little healthy snacks, especially if you're looking after yourself. So I just showed you some of the prices there close up as well. And there was some of the honeys, the wines, but I'm just not a fan of Northern Thai style wines. I'm just not. They're too sweet for me. And but if you've tried those Thai wines, tell me what you think. Tell me whether you like those Thai wines or not. And whether you've tried some of the mountain honey, because, oh my God, the mountain honey with the honeycomb inside of it, it's absolutely delicious. But this was the end of our day. And yes, we didn't do much more filming after this. This was just the last little bit of filming showing you these markets. But overall, if you do like these sort of videos, hit like and please subscribe. Or as there's places in northern Thailand that you think would be nice for me to go explore or even do some filming in, then let me know if there's some unique place that tourists don't go or you're just curious about and you haven't been there and you want to see it on film. Me and Anne are always looking for new places to go explore and just check out and have a new adventure here and there on one of our Sunday road trips. And so, yes, leave your suggestions in the comments below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and seeing some of these unique places that the tourists don't go that much at all. Anyway, have a beautiful day.